Yeah, Wes is awesome. I've told this story before, but I will tell this on here because I've never said it on this channel. I said it on Music and Mental Health channel. I can't remember now if it was a year ago or more than a year ago, but I'm going to go with over a year ago, well over a year ago. I reached out to Wes on his Patreon. Before I was just following his Patreon and watching his videos, and I might drop some comments on his videos. But then I was like, oh, Patreon has an inbox feature for the content creators. So I was like, most people are like, yo, I'm your biggest fan. I love you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, Wes is a business guy. So I'm just going to drop some questions in there about business and see how he responds or if he responds. And I didn't know if he was going to respond or what he was going to say. So I told him, I want to create a channel that is based around mental health. I also want to cover reality TV, tie those things together. And I said, I want to get that monetized and figure out a way to like earn a living basically doing this, what I'm doing right now, right? So I was just throwing that in the air. Oh, let me look at these comments really quick. I love it. I like this Canadian too. Thank you. The audio is fire. Thank you. So I didn't know what Wes was gonna say. Wes actually reached back out. He was like, "Oh, thanks so much for the question." He said, "I want to hit you with some expectations management." And I was like, "Oh, expectations management. That sounds fancy." He said, "What you're trying to do is very hard and cliche." I don't know if he actually used the word cliche, but that was the gist of what he said to me. Like it's a very hard markets to break into. It's very oversaturated. He definitely said it was oversaturated, and he was like, "I'm just letting you know that that's the expectations management part of it." And he was like, "I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm just telling you if you're doing it basically with the expectation of it has to make me a big income or else don't do it. But if you're doing it because you're passionate about it, then by all means keep going." And then he circled back actually because I didn't answer that right away. And he said, "Hey, I hope that I wasn't too harsh with what I said or kill your dream or anything." And I was like, honestly, it was a little bit hard to hear, but I appreciate the honesty of it. And he was like, "I'm just letting you know, even though I'm telling you that it's hard and it's unconventional," he was like, "look at somebody like me. I love difficult and unconventional. So I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm just saying be realistic with what you expect out of it." And I'll tell you something. I sat with that for a while because imagine Wes Bergmann is my favorite challenger of all time. I reached out to him. He responded to me, right? I asked him about my dream that I had. And of course, the fan in me hopes that he's like, "You can do it, man. One foot in front of the other, and you're gonna be some big um star mental health advocate." So it was hard to hear him because I respect him and I respect his opinion and I know that he does a lot of stuff with his own business. So I'm like, Wes is telling me that this is going to be really hard. But then I was like, you know what? I'd rather that than somebody give me some BS. So I kept that in mind and I said, I do have a passion for this. I do have a passion for it. So regardless of whether it makes me $1, a dime, $100, 1,000, 100,000, a million, nothing, I'm still gonna enjoy it. So with that in mind, I kept pushing along. And to give you guys a timeline, this is well before you started following me for Big Brother. So I kept pushing along and putting content out that was getting 10 views, 8 views, 12 views. Some of that content is still on my other page. But because I was fueled by the passion of how I felt about what I was doing, is why I kept going. Until finally, something worked for me, which was Big Brother. Surprisingly, because at the time I reached out to him, I think I had watched only the cookout season of Big Brother, and even that, I wasn't even watching the live feeds. I caught a couple of hours worth of live feed footage of the cookout season. I barely watched the live feeds on that season. I just discovered its existence. Well, I knew it existed because they tell you, but I was not interested. I'm like, why do I want to watch these surveillance cameras? I get it now. Don't worry about it. I get it now. That was then. That was me then. I've been converted. But yeah, that was a pivotal moment. I want to thank Wes for that. I know he might not even see this video, but if he does, thank you to Wes for that real talk advice. I'm a fan of real people. And that's why when I meet one or speak to one, I make sure to let them know